everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Amber Westbrook, and today I decided that instead of going all blonde all the way up to my roots, which is what I've been doing for a really long time, I'm going to try to balayage my own hair. Now, I've done this before and it worked out really bad, and I ended up just going back and re-bleaching everything that I had tried to balayage before. And also, as you'll see, I have quite a bit of regrowth, but it's still pretty high up as far as what I want to balayage. So I want to make sure that I don't damage the blonde that I already have. It's pretty healthy. Like, I give it trims and I try and, keep it as healthy as possible. But I really want some like blonde pieces around the front. I want this to lighten up, but I don't want to go all the way to my roots because I still want a little bit of like depth, because it just ends up being just all white blonde, all in your face at all times. And it's also really yellow at this point because any toner that I would have put on before is long gone, and it has been for a while. And I've just kind of been living with it, and I just don't like it anymore. So basically, I'm going to try and balayage this. And to do that, I'm going to watch Brad Mondo's video and do how he says, because I watched a lot of different balayage videos on YouTube, and this is the only one that I'm like, hey, yeah, I can manage that. But also, I'm going to put a little bit of a twist on it because I have to do my own in the back, and it's going to be hard because I only have like a handheld mirror. And so because of that, I want to be sure to get all of the back pieces. So what I'm going to do is just on these really bottom pieces, I'm just going to leave them be because the bottom is already blonde and I don't really ever wear my hair up. And even if I did, it still wouldn't look bad. It would just look like mostly brown on the bottom, which is totally fine. So I'm just going to take like these top pieces right here and do the balayage on like from here up in sections, of course. And then I'm just going to do some money pieces in the front. So like all of this is just going to be really blonde, and we're going to see how that goes. I think it's actually a good idea because honestly, at the end of the day, if it looks really bad, I can just go over it with another layer of blonde and just go all the way to my roots and do what I always do, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, like, I mean, I got the brush that has like the really fine bristles on the end, and I'm an artist for a living, so I think that I can handle a paintbrush. The last time I did it, I had the wrong brush, I had the wrong supplies, I didn't watch enough tutorials. I think that I can make it work this time. I really think that I can make it work this time. So basically, I have all of my supplies here. I have my mixing bowl and my brush. I have a comb with a really pointy end. I have a bunch of little clippies to keep my sections out of the way and some bigger clippies to keep some big sections out of the way. I've never used this developer before, this one right here. Superstar 20 volume. I always use 20 volume because my hair is really light and it actually lifts on my natural hair really quickly, so I'm not too worried about using anything heavier than that. And that's also a way that I can stop it from becoming damaged. Like, all of this was bleached with 20 volume and it came up pretty easily, so I'm not too worried about that. A mirror to see the back of my hair, and then I always use this bleach. This is the Quick Blue bleach, which I really like. I mean, I never really have used anything else. When I was younger and my mom used to do my hair, she always used that bleach, so that's kind of the one that I just kind of gravitated to. So that works for me, and with all of my supplies, I'm ready to get started. Okay, it's just a basic 4 quadrants, so I already have my middle part right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and part it down the back as well. Those pieces separated, and then from the crown to behind the ear, going to be 1. And I'm just going to roll this into a little bun. It makes it easier for me to see the back of everything. This is always how I roll. I'm going to use one of my big clips for that one. And then I'm going to do the same for this side. From the top down to behind the ear. Separate that out. Now, part of the reason that I'm doing this is because I want some really blonde pieces in the front, because I think maybe at the end of this video, if I'm feeling like I have enough energy, I will probably be doing a butterfly cut with his same tutorial, because I think that should take like 5 whole seconds. I really want it to be shorter in the front and like frame my face and everything, because my cosplay coming up is a Tinkerbell cosplay, and I'm like, well, I'm blonde, but when I put my hair up and put it in a bun, it doesn't look blonde, it looks brown, and I'm like, if doing a Tinkerbell cosplay is what motivates me to dye my hair, then so be it. Okay, my part in the back came undone, so I'm just gonna go ahead and part that again. Make sure it's nice and straight. And I'm going to put this side up because I'm going to start working on the right hand side. Okay, we'll put that in another clip. Okay, let's see what he does next. Okay, so he said to basically put V's on the back of my head And so I'm going to start like by my ear, and I'm going to just kind of skip the bottom layer like I said. So I'm actually going to start a little bit higher because I don't think that I can get that bottom layer with enough tension to be able to, well, maybe I can actually. I don't know. No, I think I'm going to leave that bottom layer out. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that whole bottom layer out. It has enough blonde on it that I am okay with how it looks right now. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this bottom one. I'm just going to kind of put it over here. It can just stay right out of the way. Okay, so now I'm going to take another diagonal section right here and pin this one up out of the way. So now that that's all set up, I'm going to go ahead and mix my bleach and take it from there. Okay, so I only have this much bleach, which, you know, is pretty good. I got a whole nother tub just in case because, you know, you never know. If I have to bleach everything, then I'm going to need a lot more than what's left in this little tiny tub. But I'm just going to go ahead and put what I have in here. I'm going to mix more than I think that I need because I always use more than I think that I need. So I'm just going to dump a whole bunch in there. That's going to be way more than I need. I can tell you that right now. That's going to be way more. Look, I come back later and it's like not even enough. Okay, so then the consistency of the bleach, I'm gonna make it like pudding. And before I mix it, I'm going to put on my gloves. I am not about to get bleach on my hands. I see people online putting bleach on their hair with their bare hands, and I'm like, don't do it. Especially since I live in the desert, that would just dry out my hands and make them crack. I already have enough like dry skin issues as it is. I don't need bleach making it worse. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour some of this developer. All right, I'm just going to pour that much in. And then I'm going to mix it up and see what the consistency is. I'm just going to put a little bit more of this in. I think that this is a good consistency. It's going to be good to paint it on with. So now that I have the good consistency, I'm going to just watch his little video for one more second and then do the first step. Okay, so he basically said just comb it out, and I'm going to comb it forward and out like that. So it's like 90 degrees out from my head. And then I'm going to clean off most of this off of my brush. And see, this is where the hard part comes in because I can't see the top, I can only see the bottom. But you know what? I might even look in the viewfinder and like try and find it a little bit, but we're just going to start. So he said to just go really lightly and just kind of blend it in. And yes, I am going over my roots a little bit. I am going over the part that has already been highlighted. You know, looking in the viewfinder for this is actually kind of helpful. Like, what? Who would have thought? Okay, gonna get a little bit more. And I saw on another video on YouTube that when you're blending it, you can kind of blend a bit of a V shape, so a little bit higher on the edges of these pieces. And then like blend it out and then blend it a little bit higher on this part as well. And then just kind of let that other part go wherever. And these are the bottom pieces, so they're pretty good to practice on. And I'm going like really light on that. I'm going to go down a little bit more on the pieces that are already blonde because I would like them to get a little tiny bit lighter. I'm just going to go a little bit, so like almost no saturation. I'm just going to have a few pieces that are just super light in there. And there we go. There's one piece. Okay, that was not so bad at all. All right, let's go ahead and try another one. Okay, so I'm going to take another little section from here. That's kind of a big section. I don't have that much hair right here. So I'm just gonna use the viewfinder again. Well, maybe not. That's not a good plan. It's hard for me to see where I've drawn the part lines, but I will take some extra time to do this. Okay, so that's a really thin section right there. So I'm going to drop that down and then I'm going to work on the next section up because it's like every other section. I don't have too much hair. See, like this is like the end of it. This is like the rest right here. So that's pretty easy to manage. I'm just going to go ahead and pin this little part up and take this part that I just dropped. Did I take all of it? I did. Okay, I'm going to just split this so that not all of it is getting highlighted. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to comb this one all out, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a little bit more on this piece because it's a little bit higher up. So let's just do the same thing. Okay, we're taking it out from the head at like 90 degrees, and I'm kind of like painting it through, pretending like I can see it, and then I'll just check. Looks pretty good. Okay, that is looking pretty good, and now I'm going to do a little bit more on the edges in that V shape that I've seen on YouTube and TikTok. I mean, granted, I've only seen professionals do it, but like it's a V shape. You put more on the edges than in the middle. Like, not really that complicated. And then I'm just gonna use my little mirror and check and see. Okay, there's like a blob. So we're gonna get that little blob right out of there. Okay, and then I'm gonna continue this down onto these pieces. Okay, I think that's good enough. Back. I just don't want it to be like super like splotchy. But then, lucky me, for this back piece, I can literally just put it like straight up so that I can see it, which I'll do it as much down as possible and tilt my head and all of that stuff. But I'm just gonna do it as straight up as possible. So I'm just gonna take one more little piece right here, put that down. Okay, then we're gonna work on this piece. And in order to work on this piece, I actually need to get this other piece out of the way. Okay, cool. So now that that's ready to go, okay, lots of tension. I definitely mix up so much bleach. Oh my god. Okay, so we're just gonna start right here. We're gonna go up. I'm gonna get the sides. Okay, and then lay that down. And then I'm gonna put a little bit more along the edges of this piece. And I'm just like lightly saturating. Like I said, I don't want it to be a lot lighter. I'm just putting enough in there that it will still be saturated. So it's not going to be like dried out, but I'm not putting it in crazy because I don't want it to be too much. Okay, so I think that that's that side. And like looking in the viewfinder, I'm like, that looks whack. So I'm just going to actually go in like a little bit more and do some stuff like maybe right here. Some of these pieces that didn't get done. As long as you do straight down. Okay, well, I don't even know if that's going to blend, but that's why we're working on the back first. Okay, so now that this side is done, I'm going to take that little clip out for that bottom piece that I didn't do anything to. And I'm just going to let that hair sit there on that side, and we're going to work on this side. Okay, there's the back done. Now we can move on to the fun part, which I think I'm going to do this side first. Okay, let's see what Brad has to say though.
A little bit lighter. So again, with the tension, just making more blended in the center.
Okay, so we're going to take out basically the front little money pieces first because we want these to be the most saturated. So I'm going to take these out pretty much down to like where my ear is, like that. I'm going to take this whole chunk because I want all of this to be blonde. To twist that up and put it in a little clippy out of the way like that. And then we're going to start right here with this diagonal and we'll clip the rest of this part up. Okay, now that I can actually see what I'm doing, this should be a lot better. Okay, we're gonna start down here and kind of saturate this. And then as we get less on the brush, we'll go up to the roots. I'm gonna smooth out all of these little bumpy bumps. Nobody wants that. And I'm gonna brush a little bit backwards to go back up to the roots a little bit so that some pieces are more saturated, but it looks fully covered. Saturate that down to there. Oh, that got a lot of bleach on my fingers. Okay, cool. Messy. Okay, let's do another piece. Okay, we're gonna hold this very, very tight and do the same thing. Start right here and paint up. And I'm gonna do what that guy showed me on YouTube and go up all the way to the root on that V shape and then down a little bit in the middle and then back up to the root on the other side. I want to make sure that it gets all these pieces in there. And then we're going to take this all the way down. I can tell you this, if this works, this is way easier than trying to bleach all the way up, full on bleach to the roots. This is much easier. And I'm hoping it gives a lot more dimension too. That's the hope. Okay, as we get closer to the top, I want to make sure that these pieces are actually kind of perfect because these are the pieces that are going to show more than anything else. Okay, this is the last piece on this side. Gotta be real careful with this one because this is the piece that shows more than all the rest. I really don't want this to be splotchy and I think I overthought it. Kind of looks like it's gonna be. Alright, well, I mean, worst case scenario, it turns out really blonde, but it looks like I didn't even fucking leave any spots. Oh my god, I'm making this so much worse. Okay, I need to stop. Okay, let's just do the other side and hope that it turns out okay. ears are burning from bleach. Okay, now that that's off. All right, let's do both of these money pieces, and I'm doing the whole thing. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna do, because I already have this blonde here, I'm just gonna paint like an inch out from my scalp on this whole section, and then I'm gonna wait a little bit so I can see a little bit of lightning, and then I will do that part, because I will have a really bad band, and I know this from past experience. So I'm basically just gonna paint the middle, and I think I'm gonna actually do it one piece at a time. I crossed over a little bit, I know. Okay, then let's do this piece right here. Do this next section right here. Yeah, I did way more on the top and front than Brad Mondo did, because I got a little overwhelmed and I was worried that my bleach was drying out and the back was not looking great. So, you know, I'm only human. I still think it's gonna turn out okay, you know? Honestly, I've never had like it turn out so bad that I can't fix it. So that's just what I kind of keep in my head, is like the worst case scenario, I will literally just go in and like re-bleach all the spots. Like, that's the worst case scenario, and that's not even that bad. So okay, then I'm just gonna go in with my fingers and make sure that that's really well saturated. Now I'm just gonna sit here and wait, maybe like 10 minutes. I'll wait for 10 minutes and then I will do the roots of this front piece. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead in and lighten these roots in the front all the way. So I just like wrapped saran wrap around my head because I happen to have saran wrap at arm's length in this room. So lazy girl way out. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if it even is going to keep the heat in, but I mean, it's saran wrapped. The ends are not, but I don't really need the ends to get more bleached anyway. It's fine. It's fine. Let's just do the scalp, keep the heat in. Honestly, most of the back is so dry already. I don't even know if it's gonna process. I guess we'll just find out. Oh, by the way, do you want to see a trick of how I get my bowls and my brush and all of my clips clean after I bleach my hair? I'm going to show you. Hey, baby. Can you please rinse this out for me? Please.
There's so much hair in there.
I know.
Just like that.
Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
And there you go. That's the easiest way to get them clean.
Rat. I feel used.
Okay, now that that's good, I'm actually going to kind of peek in here at one of these pieces back behind. Ooh, I should not have done that with my bare hand. I'm going to get a glove, and then I'm going to peek and see how well this is developing. I'm basically just going to like clean off a piece and see how light colored it is. I mean, that looks pretty white all the way through. So I think that it's probably light enough now that I can rinse it out. But I gotta check the front pieces because that's the most important, because they were on there last. So I want to make sure that these front pieces are going to be good enough. I think I might leave it on for like 10 more minutes. It should be enough. The worst case scenario, I can go in and dye the whole thing down to the roots, bleach it all to the scalp. And the second worst case scenario is I can go in and like spot touch any spots that are like patchy and just hit those dark spots specifically and get it so that it works really well. So I'm not against doing another round. I don't know that I will need one though. So like I said, my hair lightens really well and really quickly. It looks dark on the roots when I have dark roots, but honestly it's so blonde and it lifts really, really well. It always has. So I'm not too worried about damage. I'm not too worried about my roots. I just really want that pretty highlight where it just like kind of all goes together, and do like a blowout and have it look all amazing. But I do think that I will have enough energy to do the butterfly cut right after this as well. So basically what I'm going to do is rinse all of this bleach out, wash it out really, really well. And then while it's wet, I will do the butterfly cut at the same time. That's the plan for now. I'll probably put some toner on it as well, and I think that it's light enough for T18 because it's very, very light color, almost white already, so it should be no problem using that toner. Cross your fingers for me, people. Even though I didn't do the perfect job, I did the best that I could for my first try. Well, I guess it's the second try, but it's my first like dedicated try. And also I listened to Brad Mondo for the most part, tried. Okay, so as you can see, there's banding all up in here. I didn't check well enough, but you know what? I think that it's okay because it's not like super orange. It's still relatively light, and I haven't combed any of it out yet, so I don't actually know how good it is. So let me carefully and delicately brush it out so that I don't hurt my head and I don't damage the bleach strands. We're gonna see what this looks like. Well, exactly what I thought was gonna happen happened. It looks like a tiger. This is why I have not done it since last time, because honestly, last time I was less informed. I had worse tools and everything, and yeah, this time it still turned out equally as horrible. So I don't know, maybe when it's dry it looks a little better. But yeah, this looks terrible. This looks so bad. Like, that is not okay. Look at that. Like, there's no rescuing that. That is not a balayage. I mean, I guess when I kind of do this a little bit, but you can definitely see a clear line where my roots ended. Like, that is just very bad. And then it's just like splotchy. I mean, I guess I don't really know what I expected to happen because I knew that it was going to be risky to go in there with my roots only grown out as much as they were. But basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dry all of this first of all, and then I'm going to go over the whole head with bleach under the root, and I'm going to leave that there until it starts to lighten. Once that starts to lighten, I will go back in on the roots that have the dark, kind of avoid these spots that got really white, and see if I can't even it all out and just go back to a boring blonde. I mean, luckily it'll probably add the highlights anyway, just a little bit, because I'm putting the bleach over where I already bleached, where there's banding. But I don't think I'll ever try balayage myself at home again. I'll probably just do my boring old thing and do it all one color and maybe like resort to doing multiple colors sometimes and then going back to blonde, because this is the second attempt and the last attempt was like 5 years ago and I didn't try it since then because it came out exactly like this. And honestly, like, I don't think it's like the worst ever. It's just I didn't leave it on to process long enough, and also I probably should have used the 30. I usually don't have a problem with a 20 volume, but it seems like this 20 volume is not as strong as the other 20 volumes. I'm going to take a look at the back. So the back doesn't actually look that bad, to be honest. You can still tell very clearly where the line from my previous highlights were. But I feel like if I had used a higher volume developer and if I had all of my hair its natural color instead of going in with just the top part and my like natural regrowth, I probably would have had a much better time with this. But as it is right now, like, this is so orange. I mean, but do I want to go back in with another round of bleach? Because I know it's pretty dark, but I feel like if I go in with a toner, it might even it out. I don't know what to do. I really don't want to do another round of bleach. Like, these pieces are okay, but you can definitely see the orange. How about this? I'm going to dry it, and we're going to see just how yellow it is. Because if it stays too orange, I only have, well, a T18, which I know only works on level 9. And these pieces, these orange pieces right here, I don't think are level 9. They seem a little too dark. But I don't know. I mean, they're not that much darker than the rest. I think maybe a T18 might actually be okay. Maybe. Let me just dry it and we're just gonna see after I dry it. Okay, I can already tell that this is a no-go. This is no. Like, I'm just drying the top layers and I can already see this like clear line where it just turns orange. So I'm gonna have to go in. I'm just gonna dry it pretty regularly, and I'm just gonna go in and do a second round of bleach and hit all the orange spots, avoid the bottom part, and just go all the way up to the root and just do the whole thing. So that's the new plan. Let's go. And I'm just gonna go in and separate it into the 4 sections, and then I'm going to start at the bottom in the back, and then once those are developing, I'm going to go back on the bottom and do the roots on all of those layers, and then the front on all of those layers. And these front pieces shouldn't need much more because these are almost all the way light, and that way I can get it light enough to do the T18, which is the only toner I have, which is the one I'm going to use. Let's go. Do this again. I'm tempted to just go all the way to the root. I think that if I put enough on and I keep it on for long enough that it should be okay. And if I do get banding, then I'm going to rely on the toner to take it out because I really just don't want to go at it twice. And I've decided I'm okay with a really light root. I'm okay with it. So I'm just going to apply it very, very generously. Okay, so I have put a lot of bleach on, and I fully am aware that my roots are going to be like really, really white. But it's okay because I'm not going to leave it on super long. I did it pretty quickly and I saturated everything really well, and I left the ends out, so I only went down to where the other blonde started to try and get that last layer. So because it's already been bleached and I put a fresh layer on, it should not take that long at all to get that rest of that color lifted right out. So I shouldn't have a problem, and I don't think that I'm going to wait too long to do it. And then I will be using Wella T18 because for sure my hair will be light enough, and I will be using 20 volume developer with that as well. Partly because I only have 20 volume developer, and partly because it will continue to lighten whatever I have left on my head. So I'm just going to leave this on for a little while. The back pieces, because I started there, have already been sitting there for about 30 minutes already, so that's already getting close to the time. And then the front piece is about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to probably wait another 15 minutes and then I'm going to go wash it all out all over again. Okay, here we are back with very white roots, just like I predicted because I knew that was going to happen. But the rest of it is pretty, I mean, it looks a little orange in the camera, but honestly, it looks a lot less orange in real life. These pieces in the back are a lot darker because they were just like full brown, because remember I skipped over those parts in the beginning, so they were just trying to go from dark to light. But honestly, I don't care about that because it's okay that the underneath is not as light as the outside. I am fully aware and fine with it. So now I'm just going to brush this all out, and then I'm going to put my Wella T18 toner on this, which is definitely light enough to put that on, and we'll see how it all turns out. Also, I am going to leave it on for much less than the recommended time. I'm going to leave it on for like 15 minutes maximum because it says leave it on for up to 30 minutes, but I don't want it to be really, really ashy. I want it to be more blonde, less gray. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that to my hair. I'm going to go ahead and saturate all of the hair with my fingers, because this stuff you can like rub in and comb through and get it into all of those little nooks and crannies, and this is going to develop really quickly. So I'm just going to go ahead and start right here. This is much less intense than the bleaching. Oh, look at that. It's already turning purple and developing. Just going to rub it into all of these pieces. Make sure to get it everywhere. It's not really going to do much for the pieces that are not super blonde, because even though like it does have developer in it and it does like lighten a teeny tiny little bit, if your stuff is not already lightened, it's not going to lighten it more. Trust me, I know this from experience of learning it the hard way. Alright, so let's go in with this side. Okay, so now this is on, so I'm going to wait 10 more minutes and then I'm going to rinse it out. Oh, it's so purple. Oh, I'm upset about this.
Okay, just sit for a minute and we'll go do it again. Okay?
It's going to take more than one.
Okay, well, we'll do it in batches. Like, just sit for a minute, we'll go do it again. But it will wash out, you said? That white?
Yeah, it will, but it's like, it looks home done. So I'm upset because even though I left the T18 in for only 10 minutes, we got purple. Obviously, I'm not happy about this at all. I'm gonna have to like wash it 20 times. I might have to put a different toner on something. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna brush it out and I'm gonna do my haircut and then I'm gonna style it and then I'll probably feel better about it for right now. This is because I'm not a professional and I know what happened. It's because this part I dyed and this part was already dyed, and this is the overlap. So the overlap was the most damaged, the most bleached. You can see it has like these little wavies where it shows that it's not as stable, and so all of those just sucked in that toner super hard. Like I wanted it to be more like this, like with a little bit more yellowy blonde right there, and yeah, now it doesn't look like that, but it's fine. I'm just going to put some leave-in conditioner in, and then I'm going to do my haircut and maybe cut quite a bit off, not of the length, but I'm going to cut a bunch of layers into it, and then I'll style it, and maybe, just maybe, I can get rid of a lot of my problem with just a haircut. let me just do this haircut so I can make myself feel better and I don't feel like I messed everything up. Honestly, I haven't had a hair bleaching session go this badly in a long time. Like, it's been a while. I'm just gonna do what Brad Mondo says, part it down to my ear with this stick comb, like that, and I'm gonna comb it all forward, and I'm gonna put it in between my eyebrows, and we're gonna take off a lot of length as far as layers because I want to, and I'm not really afraid to like go shorter. I don't want the length gone too much, but there's always extensions. Look at that big purple streak right down the middle. Ugh, gross. This is my own fault for trying to think that I could do something creative and not going to a salon, but whatever. Okay, ponytail right in the middle. Let's pull up his video just to make sure.
Babe, don't rush. Right up. Grab the hair, and we're gonna do a really high pony, right?
Okay, well, I should probably do the back pony before I do anything else. So I'm gonna get out my scissors. These are not even my nicest ones. The other ones are in the other room, but these are good. They're okay. They're very sharp, so they are good enough for now. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it out and down and continue that line down, and we are going to make a cut at nose length. I'm gonna do it at nose length. That's what we're doing. We're doing it at nose length. Okay, let's go. There we go. That's how much hair. So I cut off about that much, so that's how much I'm gonna cut off. On this ponytail, I'm gonna bring it forward a little bit and cut off the same amount if I can get it to be not tangled. And it's like super dead split ends right here, so I'm just gonna go ahead cut the same amount. So I think it was like that much. And I do have thinning shears, so after I take it all down and blow dry it, if it's still like not smooth or it's chunky or I don't like it or whatever is going on, I can always thin it out. Let's take the whole thing down and see if it's any good. Hopefully it is. As you can see, the length's still there and the layers doing great. They go up pretty high. Obviously they're not going to go higher than the transition line where it's purple, but you know, we don't talk about that. It'll wash out. It'll wash out. We're gonna part it in the middle, and I am going to put some volumizer in this, and then I'm gonna give myself a beautiful blowout, and we're gonna feel better about this because I feel like once it's blown out, even though it's still gonna be purple, which is unfortunate, it will look better. That's what I'm gonna do right now. This looks so bad, like no matter how I do it, if I do it back, and it's like I look like I have horns. Okay, this is my last stitch attempt to make this more than that 70s show ugly bowl cut with a mullet on the bottom. Yeah, that's what this is feeling like right now, so curling iron time it is. Because I am usually very good at blowing out my hair, and let me tell you, this ain't it. So let's see if I can salvage this with a curling iron, because at this point I have never had such a bad hair disaster ever, and I'm just about to wear my hair in a ponytail for the rest of my whole life. So okay, well, after 5 hours and a lot of trial and error and a lot of disappointment and a lot of purple, which will wash out, so it's gonna be okay, I'm finally okay with it. I guess after curling it, you know, it's not so bad. It kind of looks like before when I did like this shag and it had like longer pieces in the back and it was really edgy. I might be able to salvage it like after I get, you know, out of the shower the next time and have it actually like washed and have it settle into my scalp a little bit. But yeah, as of right now, when I just blow dry it dry, it kind of just goes into like a bowl cut with like a longer series of layers behind it, which I am not a fan of. So we'll see if I can maybe style it better next time. Otherwise, I'll probably just end up either doing this or doing like a Farrah Fawcett style where it like goes back away from my face the entire time. But I do like my bangs. I used to wear them like this when they were short before, so I like them now. I think that it works. The bottom still looks a little bit like blonder, so I think that that'll be okay. And then maybe I'll just luck out and have this part kind of wash down to being a little bit more yellowy. But we will see. We will have to see on all of that. Don't know how it's going to go. Hope it goes well. Cross your fingers for me, everybody. Okay, so it's been a couple of days, and I went ahead and washed all of it out with a clarifying shampoo. I can still tell that there's like this big white lighter colored band in the middle, and that the ends and the roots are like not quite the same. Like you can see there's like kind of a big spot right there. But honestly, like when I wear it curled or when I'm tossing my hair around or just like living life, nobody else really notices. And I've had people be like, whoa, you did that at home? So, like, I know that people wouldn't say that if it looked really bad. They'd be like, oh, you did that at home. You know the tone. I know it would have been better if I got it done at a salon, but I've just been doing it by myself for so long. And I grew up with my mom as a hairdresser doing my hair. And I just really like doing it myself, and I think it turned out pretty good. Obviously, there's always things that could be better, but I'm pretty happy with how it is. Like, I feel like the cut is not as bad as I thought. Like, I started working on it. It doesn't look exactly like what I wanted it to look like. And after this, I'll definitely be going back to my wolf cut, which is what I was always doing before, because it gives me a little bit more ease of styling, we should say. But yeah, this is it blown out. You can see there's like yellow golden now. It's not as bad as it was before, and I'm really happy with it. So I was able to turn it around and make it work, make it look good. And I also am really happy because then I had blonde hair for my Tinkerbell cosplay. And if you haven't checked that video out yet, it is up on my channel, and it's a really good one. And it's why I did my roots. So probably a good idea to go watch it if you're interested in that kind of thing. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see ya in the next video.